All right, we have everybody, so we'll get started, okay?
Okay, and I'll let them in as they start, Mike.
Huh?
I said I'll let people in as they come in, but yeah, we're ready.
Okay. So I'd like to call this meeting to order and state that this meeting is being held in compliance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231. It was properly noticed and has been posted and certified by the clerk. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hofferkamp.
Here.
Ms. Johnson.
Here.
Ms. Roberts.
Here.
Mr. Schindler.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Young.
Here.
And Mayor Francis.
Here. So let's do our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Today we do have a proclamation. And this proclamation is reaffirming the commitment and objective of the Borough of Hopatcong Green Team. Whereas the Borough of Hopatcong adopted resolution number 2015-177 establishing a Green Team Advisory Committee at a regular meeting conducted on Wednesday, the 17th day of June 2015. And whereas the Borough of Hopatcong resolved in that resolution that they wish to pursue local initiatives and actions that would lead to sustainable Jersey municipal certification. And whereas the Borough of Hopatcong further resolved in that resolution to create the Borough of Hopatcong Green Team to serve as the Borough of Hopatcong agents for the Sustainable Jersey municipal certification process. And whereas the Green Team composed of these individuals, Michael Francis, Mayor, Ronald Tappan, Borough Administrator, Bradley Hofferkamp, Council Member, Don Roberts, Council Member, John Young, Council Member, Richard Schindler, Council Member, William Donegan, Zoning Officer, Catherine Million, Recreation, and Environmental Commission members Jewel Gorman, Pat Hofferkamp, Jennifer Barone, Georgia Schilling, and Lisa Hirschfeld, who are interested in advancing the efforts of the Borough of Hopatcong in the Sustainable Jersey Municipal Certification Program, and that have been appointed to the Green Team for 2019. And whereas that group has been creating and cataloging significant sustainability actions so that the Borough of Hopatcong may maintain Sustainable Jersey certification at the bronze level attained in 2019 and increase total action points toward attaining silver status. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Michael Francis, Mayor of the Borough of Hopatcong, do hereby proclaim that the Green Team of the Borough of Hopatcong is active in the community and advancing sustainable practices and actions included in the Sustainable Jersey Municipal Certification Program. The Green Team has been and shall continue to be composed of individuals who have demonstrated interest in advancing the efforts of the Borough of Hopatcong to pursue certification through the Sustainable Jersey Municipal Certification Program. The role of the Green Team has been and shall continue to be to lead and coordinate the sustainability activities in New Jersey. It's signed June 3rd, 2020, Mayor Michael Francis. So congratulations, the Green Team. Okay. Now I'll go with committee reports. Dawn, start with you.
Really nothing new to report. Everything is status quo. We're taking in donations and we're moving them out. So we'll just keep on doing what we're doing.
Okay, thank you. Brad?
Mayor, got a few things here today. Just going back to the pandemic, latest count I've got is 117 in Hopatcong with the virus, and countywide we're 1,119, the latest numbers I have. The Lake Hopatcong Commission has partnered with Rutgers to offer rebates to lake homeowners who build their rain gardens or online buffers. And if anyone is interested, there's up to a $450 rebate for anyone choosing to do that, which of course would help our lake. Feel free to go to the Lake Hopatcong Commission site, which is lakehopatcongcommission.org, and look under the rain garden program. Thanks to the council's approval last the council meeting, the Hopatcong Hometown Heroes Banner Program has gotten very strong support from the community. It's off to a great start. First, I'd like to thank Jim Fitzpatrick of the news for putting information out on our program, as well as Kathy Million for featuring us in the June edition of the Hopatcong Happenings. And if you're people out there are interested, please feel free to get your application in as soon as possible to be included in this initial phase of the program. We're shooting roughly for July 4th type of a celebration deal, depending, of course, on the parameters of the pandemic at the time. Ron, I'm going to cue you up here for some photographs, if you can do that. And I'll just talk real quick once he's doing it here. Another volunteer project of the Environmental Commission's Beautification League. This is unfortunately at an angle, but these are the trellises that we just redid and new plants put in to pay our basically our condolences to the two young girls that were killed there in 1982. They had fallen into some disrepair, so we got those fixed up and new plants put in there. In addition, going now to here we go, the Maxim Glen sign. You'll see here plantings done, mulch done, and then these are red Canada lilies that will grow up on the side of the sign. And just would like to thank the committee there, the beautification committee, for all the work they've done helping us get that done. And then there's probably one or two more photographs. And during the Memorial Day time frame, we put flags throughout Maxim Glen Park. And I apologize for these two being slanted. This was done a little quickly there. And the last photograph is of the two ponies in Maxim Glen Park. And you get a better shot there. And we had more volunteers out Saturday doing the mulching. I want to thank the DPW for helping us, for them to supply the mulch. And Mayor, that's all I've got for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Rich?
Okay, as always, I just want to start off by saying thank you to all of our EMS, our fire, and our police officers for their work in the line of duty dealing with the public. I also want to thank Kathy Million, who during the whole COVID virus lockdown really worked hard and kept food going and meeting the needs of the seniors for lunches. I also again want to thank Dawn Roberts and Alex McLean for their providing of food to the town residents. Thank you for all helping in those efforts. Want to look back on what Brad just said about the COVID-19 patients. Looking at the numbers, I'm looking at a little bigger picture for the county. There are 1,119 cases as of the end of May, and that is just diagnosed cases. That being said, looking at the numbers from our last meeting on May 20th, we had 1,065 cases in Sussex County and 850 cases that have been recovered. As of the end of May, we're at, again, 1,119 and recovered at 936. So during the last 2 weeks of the reported cases, we've increased by 54 number of cases, and the number of cases that have been recovered from the virus is up by 86. So again, like last meeting, we are on the right road to recovery. The virus is still out there. Everyone please be diligent and keep up wearing your masks and social distancing. And let's pray to keep that the trend moves in the same direction. Next, we had a land use meeting last night. It was pretty quick. We did go over some information regarding the short-term rental, and I thought it was very good. People had a lot of good input. That being said, you can participate and watch the land use board meeting via the Zoom app, just like this, and you can get to it from our homepage, hopatcong.org. Then also, I want to just say that the recycling center opened today, 8 to 12 on Wednesdays, and on Saturdays, 8 to 4. I want to do a shout out to Ron Tappan and the others in the DPW for getting this open and working through all the ins and outs and with the stickers and everything. Please keep in mind that you will need a sticker in your front windshield to show the employees. And this is how we're letting people in. We did have a problem with having out-of-towners come in and use our facility, which is definitely not a good thing. And that's it, Mike. All done.
Thank you. John Young?
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I would like to ditto Councilman Schindler's comments as far as thanking Dawn and Kathy and all of our first responders and all of our medical workers as well. Kudos to all. I want to report on environmental first. They had a work session the other day, and I won't mention the beautification committee or the Hopatcong Heroes banner because Brad covered that. We are awaiting the judging results of a grant we applied for pollinator garden. That's from Anjac. We have tentatively scheduled a rain garden dedication towards the end of July. We'll have to see where things are as whether or not we can actually have that. We also had conversation about adopt a storm drain, because there's approximately 1,000 storm drains in the borough, and certainly many, if not all of them, would help the lake by having filters on them, and the filters are about 300 each. So we had some conversation about starting a adopt a drain program. The free New Jersey free tree giveaway that we had scheduled for June, that has been canceled. The trees have been in storage with the state since March, and the state is not delivering them. So in the best interest of everything, we felt it was best not to have it at all. So that's been canceled. The fall for our town has been canceled for this year. As a matter of fact, the Environmental Commission made a decision that they're going to do that every other year. So next year, we look forward to doing that again. Shred Day is still scheduled tentatively for September 19th at the Senior Center. Again, that's pending where things are. And we also talked about a town cleanup for September 12th or the 19th. The poster contest is still on at this point, and we're looking to coordinate that with the town cleanup. Had a lot of conversation again about sustainable Jersey. And we also had some conversation about a special tree planting somewhere in town as a dedication to recently passed away Loretta Rankin. Those of you that knew Loretta, she was a longtime Hopatcong volunteer and resident. From the police training facility, I gave an update last week, and actually things are coming together very nicely rather quickly since last week. The east and west sound mitigation berms are complete. The impact berm is complete, and they've also since then been seeded and hydro seeded and having mat put on them for erosion. So the berms are all finished. We still have some other details we're working on. Hopefully soon we'll be having some sort of final report on it, because it really is shaping up nicely and coming near the end. I don't have anything from Open Space or Municipal Alliance. From Recreation, they have not met yet, but I do have something to announce from Recreation. Due to the state restrictions, school facilities will not be able to open for summer activities. Consequently, our Recreation Commission Summer Rec program had to be canceled. It's unfortunate. We've been holding off, trying to hope that we still might be able to do that. But again, the school facilities are not available, so that cancels that program. And that's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Jennifer, you're up.
Ryan.
Want Ryan to go first? Good.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Ryan, I do that all the time. You know, I have the council pictured in my mind where everybody sits. And so that's what I try to do. But by the time I get to the end of the table, it gets a little confused. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
That's quite all right. Again, I want to echo the comments before us and thank Kathy and Alex and Dawn for taking care of a lot of our citizens in town. I really want to thank our first responders and our police and our EMTs and our ambulance squad. They're out there on the front lines. Other than that, none of my committees have met, and there's really nothing going on in them, so I don't have any committee reports. So I wish everybody the best. And Jennifer, it's up to you.
Thank you, Ryan. Go, Jen.
All right. School-wise, there's a graduation plan. It's posted online. I know Mike sent me a copy of it. There's also Alex McLean is sponsoring another drive-through food bank tomorrow at the high school from 10 until 1 o'clock. I think that's basically all I have. I had spoken to, it's kind of discussed maybe about recreation, possibly perhaps doing a drive-in movie. I don't know. I know that there are allowances for it. I don't know what would go into that. I'm sure it would probably be through recreation, but I think it would be, you know, something that maybe perhaps we could discuss doing for the town and the residents. You know, we've all been stuck in our houses for 3 months, so it might be nice to get out and see a movie in the middle of a field. So that's all.
Thank you. Ron, want to do the administrator's report?
Sure, Mayor. A couple of things. I hope everybody has seen the activity down at River Styx Road where the streetscape process has started and moving along. Not moving as fast as we like, but they're moving nonetheless. And we're making progress there. Mayor, I know you're going to talk about solar. I won't go there, but good progress there. And I can't thank enough of my DPW staff for helping out during the week, getting the recycling center back up and going, getting it cleaned up, getting some repairs done. Report of today's activities went very smooth. We had only one incident where a person didn't have their sticker, but they were a resident, and we allowed them to come in. But they know they have to come and get a sticker. But all in all, it went very well today. We were very surprised and humbled by how everybody was acting. The borough, as everyone knows, is open, and the traffic patterns and people participation has been very well taken here. Everybody is playing by the rules. They are. There's social distancing. They're wearing their masks. Very few times do we have to remind people to cover their nose. But for the most part, everybody understands what we're trying to do and appreciates what we're doing and is participating in the rules of what we've asked them to do. And I hope from our perspective in administration, we're giving as much customer service as we possibly can. I do need some help on two fronts. And Mayor, if you would, if you could take the lead on these two. Lorraine sent out an email today on our WIP process, which is the software package that allows us to pay our utility bills online. And if you use a check, there's a $1.25 fee that's baked into that. We bake it back in as a rebate, and we don't charge them for that. What we want to know is, do we want to continue that process of the waiver of the $1.25 fee if a person uses a check on our WIP process? And secondly, I know we had the resolution about relieving the sewer interest and fees up to the June 1st deadline. And then after June 1st, fees and interest that weren't paid were paid back to the original date. I know there's some mention in the council, and I'm just merely reminding everyone this, and I'm asking you to give us direction. Is there any interest in continuing that by another month? Or are we done with the process, or do we want to continue on until we stop? I need some help with that. Other than that, Mayor, that's all I got today.
Thank you. We'll address both them issues under new business. All right?
Thank you, Mayor.
Don't let me forget. I'd
Okay.
like to, a motion now to open to the public for public comment.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Aye.
You know what, while we do that, we're used to doing that, but if you would call the roll, please, on that.
Okay. Mr. Hoppercamp,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, the guidelines for public comments are always printed on our agenda, and they say when a person wishes to participate with a public comment, the speaker will state their name and residential address and speak to the Borough Council directly. The council should be addressed as a collective body and not as individual members. Questions from the speaker, if any, should be directed to the mayor. Questions will be addressed after the close of the public comment period and at the discretion of the governing body. So welcome, public.
I will ask anyone that wants to speak in public to go to the reaction button and raise your hand. If you're on a phone and you don't have the reaction button, give me some vision here that says, hey, I would like to participate. So I have one coming in now, Mayor.
Okay, go.
Hold on, he's trying to, there we go. Mr. Grunfelder?
Yes, you have no idea what a pleasure it is to hear my name pronounced correctly. I've heard the expressions of gratitude and respect for the police department, the fire department, and the EMTs. I just wanted to add to that I had the opportunity to have a personal experience with that service about a couple of weeks ago. We telephoned in, we had a propane leak, and within 2 minutes, my entire block was taken up with fire engines and police cars and EMT respondents. It's unbelievable what a feeling of safety and reassurance they bring with them. They were everyone says somebody's professional, but these gentlemen were absolutely professional. I have only one complaint about that experience, and I don't know if there's anything that anyone can do about it. One of the officers who responded had a set of handcuffs with him. So as we were sitting there, I asked him very nicely, because I'm a respectful individual, if he would be kind enough to use those handcuffs and take my wife away, because I was going to file a complaint about domestic abuse. And he refused to do that. So I'm still in the same position I was in before. The propane leak has been fixed, but my wife is still here. The next item that I'd like to comment on is the solar power field that if I steal the mayor's thunder, I don't mean to. It's been my experience and my observation that members of the borough council, the mayor, and members of the administration often come into the situation where they're ridiculed and there are arguments made, and I certainly think for a town like Hopatcong that's unseemly conduct. And my feeling and my position is that I'd certainly like to see the borough take a more proactive role in making public the good things that are going on, because there are many of them. And I think that that solar power installation is certainly one of them. So I wanted to mention that, and that's the end of my comments, but thank you.
Thank you. Next up,
And you have Leslie C. Can you see Leslie C?
Hello, this is Leslie Cole, 109
You're
Francis
muted.
Avenue. I'm on phone.
Go
Ron,
ahead,
you're
Leslie.
muted.
No.
we got you.
Okay, I unmuted myself. Leslie Cole, 109 Francis Avenue. Three things I have to talk about. One is I've heard a lot of mention that people are being refused service from Optimum Online because they're considering Hopatcong a hotspot. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention because I don't know if you guys visit the Hopatcong Online Facebook page. Just a heads up on that. Next thing is, in reference to that hotspot, out of the 23 counties posted on the CDRSS report from the county, we are second, not including the Andover numbers. So I guess that's why they're considering us a hotspot. And on the positive cases, and on, I won't go to the other one, that's the saddest part about it. The other part is Sussex County Government Facebook page mentioned a National Institute on Aging has linked social isolation, loneliness to higher risks for physical and mental conditions. Therefore, the Sussex County Division of Senior Services is offering a wellness checks for vulnerable individuals via phone calls once per week. This will allow us to assess their needs, connect them to services, or just provide a person to talk to. If you know of anyone in need of this service, please call 973-579-0555 to set up the weekly contact. I think that's incredibly important for our vulnerable citizens or anyone in need of that kind of a service. So I would hope somehow, some way you could get that out to the community. And that's it.
Thank you. Next up, Ron.
Mr. Wallace.
Hi, good afternoon. Scott, can you hear me? Yeah, Scott Wallace,
Yes.
219 DuPont Avenue. I was just brought to my attention a little while ago that there is potential expansion of the sewer up DuPont Avenue. So in all transparency that the council wishes to do, I would hope that that the council would reach out to us residents in that new zone where we can have a separate meeting to discuss, you know, what kind of contact we would have with it and how it would affect us moving forward. Not to say that the sewers aren't needed, since many of you may not know, I was part of that with, you know, back when it started with Mr. Hodson on being part of the zoning, the planning board. But it is a tremendous impact, and you know, I would like to make sure that we have some valuable input as to how it will affect everybody. And that's it.
Thank you. Next up, Ron.
Mr. Franco.
Yes, I just have a quick question in regards to leaf pickup. I know the month of May they were doing leaf pickup. Now there's still bags out on the street. Are they still picking up leaves, or we have to bring them to the recycling center?
Ron, can you answer that?
Yeah, I didn't know if Mike was wanting me tonight.
Well, I
No,
was
the
gonna
leave,
answer-
yeah, the leave process has stopped. We'll pick it up in the fall. We'll redo it up in the fall. Right now, yeah, you have to bring them up to the recycling center.
Okay, so what is the concept behind the leaf bags where we go and pick them up and pay for them? What is that process for?
We started that process so that if somebody didn't want to go to Home Depot or to Lowe's, be exposed more to the COVID issue, we have the process here where you can call and tell us how many bags you want. We pay for them, and then you go over to DPW. They'll have them there staged with your name on it, and you don't have to interact with anybody. Just come up to the booth and pay for the bags on our protected area. Then you go over to the DPW area and pick up your bags. That was the reason for it.
Okay, thank you. That's
You're
all.
welcome.
Next up, Ron?
Oh, give me a second, Michael. I don't see any more hands, Mike.
You had a raised hand on the second page.
I did? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, got it. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer.
Heather Fiore, Windsor.
CPM 1, account 1?
Yeah, it's Heather Fiore, Windsor Avenue. A couple of things. One, I just wanted to point out the fact that I put a reaction up 3 times and it was cleared all 3 times with no.
Yeah, time's out.
Yeah. I also had a question on the DuPont Ave. There are 12 lots that were added between 213 and 247, which line up perfectly with Hudson Avenue. So it doesn't seem that it's an error that those were added, but there was no mention of this the entire, I mean, you guys know I attend every meeting. There was no mention of anybody hooking up on DuPont Avenue. So I'm trying to find out if that's a mistake or if that's an actual add-on. There's also another lot that doesn't exist, 30806.1, lot 13. That doesn't exist. That's listed on the ordinance. And if you're adding these additional 12 homes, is that increasing the amount of the cost of the project? Last item is the ordinance for taking out the bond. There's no mention anywhere about the 50% funding that Mike guaranteed for this project. Where is that paperwork? That's the extent of my questions.
Thank you. Next up, Ron?
I think JF had their hand raised as well. I didn't know it timed out.
Yeah, hi, Ron, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, great. So Jim Fitzpatrick, and I'm a Hopatcong resident, and I'm representing Hopatcong Lake Regional News on this article, or on this commentary to the council. First of all, I would really like to thank the Borough of Hopatcong, whether it be the fire, police, the mayor, or the council, etc., for their support of the Cops and Rodders parade that took place last weekend. We as a news agency only had about 2 days notice of this occurring. We put out an article. The Cops and Rodders reached out to the different towns around the lake, and they provided a parade of hot rods that was, 7 miles long and over 300 cars. So I'd like to thank, primarily the police, the fire, and whoever was behind, helping to organize this. My primary question to the council, and it can be answered later, it doesn't need to be answered during this meeting, is about the Hopatcong Marketplace. So this seems like a really great event for Hopatcong. It can draw businesses to this area or customers to this area for our businesses. It's set to launch on June 27th. I'm not sure, is that the solid date or is it pending, or, I'm not sure what's going on behind that. We'd like to make a big deal about this for Hopatcong. But, we don't know really who to go to in order to get more information. So that's what we're looking for from the council, is where we go to get more information. And lastly, I just want to add, you know, something that we had recently as a piece of joy. You know, we are now in charge of the Lake Hopatcong shop logo that we took over last year from the Lake Hopatcong Foundation. And last year we had a very successful year, even though the halves were an issue. But this year, we've interviewed multiple different businesses around the area, including a major marina and two, you know, fairly substantial restaurants. And I just want to come back to you as a council and let you know what I found surprising during this last week of what they said. And it was Lake Hopatcong could have the busiest year of their entire history this year. And here's what they named. Every owner put it in different words, but people just want to get out. They want to stay local because they can't really travel, or, you know, budgetary restraints. They want to stay local, etc. And Hopatcong has many major events. You know, we go to the Super Weekend with Lake Hopatcong Foundation. We go to the many different boat races that we have, you know, and just the state park in general. So I just wanted to relay that to the council. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Got more on?
Got one more coming in here. Hold on, Michael. Ms. Modes?
Hi. Yes, Mara Modes with the No Road. I had a problem getting onto the land use board last night. And I wonder what the protocol is. If you have a problem, is there a number or somebody to reach to say you have a problem? And the second thing is, I looked this morning and it's been removed from the June calendar. So I was wondering if you could address that, because I'm sure other people, it said there was a meeting in progress, but that went on for 45 minutes and it never let me in. So I tried on the phone and I tried on the computer. So I don't know whether you were having a problem or whether it was, but is there a way to let somebody know that you can't get in? That's it.
Thank you.
Let's see. Mike, that's all the hands I see.
Well, give it a couple more seconds.
Sure, sure. I'll keep scrolling back and forth. I've got 3 different screens here, so.
All right, no more?
Seeing none, Mike.
I'll entertain a motion to bring it back.
So made.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hoppercamp,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Now, let me see if I can respond to a couple of these like we said we would. In reference to the meeting with the public about the Hudson Avenue sewer extension, we had numerous meetings with the residents. They were advertised. We met publicly and met with a group at their request privately. And so it was a very different scenario than any previous sewer projects, good, bad, or indifferent. But there were plenty of meetings, and I think it really helped people understand what we were trying to do. The difference with this project is that the allocation covers pretty much the cost of the project, and except for some soft costs or our time, it does not include any expense by either taxpayer general funds or sewer utility current funds. In reference to the funding on the ordinance does not say 50%, because I'm still pursuing more. So the ordinance says that the 600,000 can be offset with other funds. And that gives us the flexibility. If we do get more than 50%, we don't have to go back and change the ordinance, so it's permitted. But we're still committed to the 50% by the state. To the best of my knowledge, that's within the last week. We had conversation with them, so the funding is still available, and the project is still a go. The additional hookups, we continue to look at that, and our engineer will give us a clear indication on cost. But again, if we do extend it, and people are requesting that we take this offset by allocation cost of people who are hooking up. So pretty much it's a net zero for the taxpayer and the existing utility, and it's an added expense for anybody that wants to hook up. But we're trying to make the best benefit out of this project that we can. And so as we go ahead, we'll make some field decisions based on the need and the expense and the practicality of it. If we want to go up the hill and it's solid rock, I doubt very much that we're going to do that. But if it's not a heavy lift, we should certainly, for the benefit of the utility, we should certainly look at more. The more hookups you have, of course, the more general support you have. That's kind of our line of thought. Jim Fitzpatrick, your question about the Hopatcong Marketplace, give me a call. The starting date was the 27th. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone before doing the meeting with the governor's office, and so I'll call them back. And so I think at about 5 o'clock, I've got a conference call with the governor's office. And just to be clear, when we do stuff, I only will support what's approved by the Attorney General of the state of New Jersey and the governor's office by way of their policy, executive order. I can tell you a long story about the graduation thing we're going to have. It was 4 weeks of back and forth, and we finally got to a place where I think is going to be very good for our students. And it will also honor the students who are going into the military, and we're not going to forget them or exclude them. They will be included because the tentative date is June 19th. But the point I make with that is, again, I don't know the answers, and I rely heavily on the permission from the Attorney General and the governor's office to do this. I'm certainly not going to disobey them or cause any hardship on the town because of that. So I want people to be clear when they see stuff happening that it's not done without a lot of care and a lot of input and analysis legally and practically. The Land Use Board meeting, again, welcome to the technology world. I believe there was some issue with the software. I also believe that that's been fixed. So at the next Land Use Board, we won't have that problem again. But this is part of this virtual stuff, you know, it's ongoing. So I hope that helped everybody. Of course, if you want to contact me offline, you certainly can. And I'll give you all and any information that I have. So that's responded the best I can to that. Any council member want to have any inputs on any of them responses?
Actually, yes. Mayor, if you will, there was a Leslie Cole, I believe.
Yes.
She commented on Hopatcong's numbers being second by the county ratings, and it seemed like she had some concern about that.
Yeah.
I haven't checked the Borough of Hopatcong's population status in the county in quite some time, but the last time I did, we were number 3 by population, Vernon being number 1, Sparta being number 2. So if that's still the case, our numbers are not necessarily unusually high.
Okay, well, our population is 14,000 and change. It went down.
I know.
Since the last. We were a little over 15,000. It has gone below that. And I know that because I'm talking about some grants with federal government, and it puts us in a different bracket. So thank you. Any more comments?
Did you get to Mr. Wallace's concern about DuPont?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had numerous meetings with the residents about that.
About DuPont.
Yes, actually, the result of that was a vote by the residents whether to do it or not.
No, that was Hudson Ave, not DuPont.
Oh, DuPont. No, DuPont is something we're evaluating. And if it's practical to do, that's a problem area with septics. And if it's practical to do, then we ought to do it. But that's engineering review.
And I think his question was, why is it on the ordinance?
Because probably the engineer reviewed it and said it's practical to do.
Mike, if I may, I just got off the phone with Rusky. He said all the properties that touch the lake were identified.
Yes.
That being said, it goes to the subcommittee then to see which ones just aren't practical to hook up. At this point, Rusky feels that none of those houses on DuPont make any sense at all to try to run sewer to. But they were identified because on the other side of that cliff, they connect to the lake. So there are lots that have been identified in the ordinance because they do what they did. They took it all approach of everything on that lake, and then the subcommittee will decide which ones are the most practical to hook up. That's what he just told me.
So then can those be taken off the ordinance? Can DuPont Ave be taken off the ordinance then?
I don't think so. What it was all collaborated with the bond agencies and all of that. You had to identify the whole pool and then you can take from. I don't think it's more problematic to add in the future. Mr. Erskine, you can weigh in on that, but that's the way I understand it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ron, but that really is a question for the bond attorney.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that is,
I don't know.
that list is extensive and you can choose from it, or that's the representations you're making to any bond company that bids.
Right.
Okay.
That's
all right.
That's from the engineer.
Yeah. All right. So now we'll go to approval of minutes. The minutes of the regular meeting of May 20th, 2020.
Anybody have an objection to doing them both at the same time? Not hearing any, Mayor. I will move both minutes from both meetings.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hoppercamp,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-86, approval of the bills list.
Anyone need anything out or discussed?
There was
Again, Mayor, not
sorry.
hearing or seeing any. I'll move the bill list in its entirety.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hoppercamp,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
I had a question. There was a blank on the bills list that I wanted to know about, and I'm sorry I was muted.
Are you talking about under the description?
Yes.
Okay, I can tell you what that is.
Oh, yeah. 2000682.
That's paper.
It's paper?
It's a Sherpa info-based sign. And that's
Thank
all
you.
you can see.
So yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes.
Oh, I know what that is.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Do we have a consent agenda attached to this?
We do not.
Okay, well, we'll pass on that one. Ordinance, introduction, Ordinance 11, 2020, partially vacating Little Chester Road right-of-way. An ordinance partially vacating Little Chester Road right-of-way in the Borough of Hopatcong, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey. This is an introduction, and the final reading will be what date, Valerie?
Second we're at the 3rd, it'll be 17th of June.
So the final reading will be June 17th.
I'll move it.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hoppercamp,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Ordinance 12, 2020, salary. An ordinance establishing a minimum and maximum range of salary and compensation for certain titles of officers and employees of the Borough of Hopatcong.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hoppercamp.
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Roberts.
One question. So you're talking about a minimum and maximum range. Does that mean the salary doesn't go over what you list as the maximum range?
Correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, yes.
Mr. Schindler.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
So, final hearing, ordinance 10, 2020, Hudson Sewer Service, bond ordinance providing for sanitary sewer improvements on Hudson Avenue in and by the Borough of Hopatcong in the county of Sussex, state of New Jersey, appropriating $600,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $600,000 bonds or notes of the borough to finance the cost thereof. Right?
So moved.
Hey, hold on before we move it, because we can discuss this, and I do have a question regarding this. Since I guess some houses or lots were added with DuPont, the question is that I have, if I'm understanding it correctly, this is just for the bond ordinance that we can go out and do a bond for the 600,000. Don't have to use it all, but we can go out that far. And if I'm hearing correctly, it gives us a list of lots that we can pick and choose from the subcommittee to include in the final hookup for the sewer. So if that is correct, this just actually helps everyone if there's more people involved for the cost of the sewer. So I just want to get that right, that I understand that. Ron, you spoke to Rushke, and is that the correct understanding?
Yeah.
You're muted, Ron.
Lorraine, if you want to kick in too, it's a requirement when you go for that assessment, you have to have them all in. So then the subcommittee, from a realistic point of view, goes through and says, well, by the map, it looks right, but by big rocks and mountains, it doesn't. The subcommittee can go through then and say it just doesn't make sense to do one or the other.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ron, that is not the way I'm reading section 3.
Okay.
I mean, section 3 specifically says that you are financing the project with hookups to those locations. It doesn't say including those locations or might include those locations. It says you're financing it by providing sewer to those locations.
Well,
So-
I think what we need to do then is get bond counsel and the engineer in the same room and explain it to all of us then.
Exactly. I think we need to table this and make sure all of our ducks are in a row, specifically because I don't think DuPont property owners were actually asked if they want to be hooked up or not. And because of that, they shouldn't be added unless we do that or we get it explained differently. So I know John, I think, moved it. Valerie, can I just move again to table it, or what do I have to do?
Yeah, you can move to table it.
Okay, I would like to move to table that ordinance 10-2020
And your motion is to table it to the next meeting.
to the next meeting, yes.
I'll second that.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hoppercamp.
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
This is to table?
Yes.
Table.
Yes.
Ms. Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Schindler.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Thank you. I think that will help everybody understand the details of it. So that's a good thing. Resolutions. 2020-87, authorizing an award of contract to Everblue Lake for the Crescent Cove Rehabilitation Project.
I'll move it.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hoppercamp,
Yeah.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts, Ms. Roberts, excuse me,
Okay, yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes. Yes. Am I on mute?
no, you're good.
No.
I'm good.
Mr.
Okay.
Schindler,
Valerie, can you hear me? Yes.
Mr.
Yeah,
Smith,
Yes. Yes.
Valerie, he said yes. Can you?
yes, I had that.
Oh, she was frozen.
I'm a yes.
I got everybody.
John, I'm glad you're not frozen.
Yeah, the
Even
band
Al
was
was
closed
frozen.
right up there.
That's what-
I didn't have it frozen. I think Valerie was
But I think
frozen.
Valerie was frozen, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Resolution 2020-88, hiring of police officer Richard Vandersky.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hoppercamp,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Resolution 2020-89, authorization for public auction, and I believe that's for surplus equipment, correct, Ron?
That's correct, Mayor.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hoppercamp,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Resolution 2020-90, salary resolution for management employees.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hoppercamp,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Or no?
Yeah.
Okay. On the ordinance that we just passed about salaries, one of the salaries is above the cap.
Okay.
Is that? Did we just pass an ordinance on, we introduced an ordinance on salary.
Yes.
Okay, so then the resolution.
we just need to, what number is that, Jennifer?
It's actually Ron's,
Okay,
because the number on the ordinance, I think the cap was like,
150.
right, and then on the resolution, it's 152.7.
Okay. Lorraine, I'll put it at 155. Is that good for maximum?
Yeah, that salary listed on the resolution is for multiple positions.
Right. That's not my administrative salary. 15,000 of that is for being the qualified purchasing agent. So if you look in the ordinance, you'll see purchasing agent. I think the range is like from 15 to 30 or something like that. And my range goes up to 150. I only make 137 as the administrator.
I got it. Okay, thank you.
So no changes needed then.
No.
Okay.
All right.
It's in
Thanks,
order.
Valerie. Thanks, Ron. Okay, so yes.
Okay. Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Thank you. Old business. Now we get to new business. Approval of a retaining wall in the right of way, block 30707, lot 17.
I'll move it.
Second.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hoppercamp,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Thank you. Now we got to get to the extension of late fees. Should we do it at another month? Or should we do it by the month, or should we do it till the emergency is over? That's at the council's pleasure.
Mayor, you're talking about late fees for what?
For sewer and water.
Not the late fees? Or the processing
the
fees?
The interest.
Yes.
There are late fees also.
Yes, late fees also.
So interest and late fees?
Yes.
And what's the question? You want us to bump it another month, or you want us to bump it to the end of the emergency situation?
Well, I think we should take it a month at a time and make it till July 1st and see where we're going and see what the performance is and how many occurrences we actually had. So if we see that it's not a problem, then maybe we don't need to address it for another month. But I would say we just need to keep addressing it. People are still struggling.
Hey, Lorraine.
Haven't gotten their checks yet either.
Hey, Lorraine, how many people, or where do we sit with people using the push off of the late fees?
Well, I don't know exactly how many have taken advantage of that because people didn't actually start to pay until the end of May, the beginning of June. I can tell you that there were over 400 people that took advantage of the credit offered for the e-check payments through the WIP system.
That was $1 and change, right?
$1.25, right.
$1.25.
So the fee wasn't waived, but it was given as a credit to their account. So a lot of people have taken advantage of that. We really haven't seen that much of a slowdown in the number of people making payments.
Well, it made it so much easier and it stimulated them to pay, really.
Yeah. John, the resolution says penalties and interest. Is the term penalties all inclusive? I mean.
Yeah, I think late fees and penalties are synonymous.
Okay.
So that would be at the council's pleasure if you want to continue that. I would recommend we just do it a month at a time and let's see what the performance is.
Mayor, I would be good with another month. I think in the middle of June or so, we'll have a pretty good handle on the financial payment schedule as it relates to the last quarter's tax payments and everything.
It's not only that, people are still struggling. Believe it or not, I still have people that haven't collected their unemployment yet, and now they're being jerked around on the 13-week extension. So we still have people under stress.
I say we wait another month.
All right, let's wait another month.
I'll entertain that motion.
I'll make it.
Second.
So the motion is to extend the previous resolution until July 1st.
Yes.
Is that correct? I'm reading that right,
Yes.
John?
Yes, and that only as it applies to water and sewer, not real estate taxes.
Correct. We can't do real estate taxes.
Can I ask a question?
The governor will take care of that for you.
Mike, do you want to reference the resolution 2020-78 so it has reference back to that resolution?
Yes.
Okay.
So that will be extended to July 1st.
That needs to be in the motion.
Can I ask a question before you pass that motion? Would you then want to go back till June 1st, from June 1st to July 1st? Because people have been charged fees from June 1st to June 3rd today. So
yes.
Go back and refund those late fees then.
Yeah.
Okay. Just water and sewer.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Lorraine.
So we'll reference that, or we'll reference that resolution in the minutes, Valerie?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second?
You do.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hoppercamp,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Thank you. Now we get to some of my comments.
I have a quick question, Mike, if I may interrupt. Did I miss approval of the minutes, item number 8 on the agenda?
Yeah, you must have, because we did it.
We rolled them together.
Yeah, we did both minutes
We
together.
did both at the same time.
Okay, I was looking for a second one and I only put 1 check mark. My bad on writing.
And Mayor, if you could, can you circle back around to the whip issue as well? We didn't finalize that, I don't think.
The what?
The whip, the $1.25 fee for e-check. I don't think we finalized anything on that.
Well, that's at the pleasure of the council. If you want to continue it for another month, I'll entertain a motion.
That's so people don't have to pay that $1.25 when they pay through the whip.
Correct.
They would actually pay it, but we would credit it to their account.
Got it. Oh, that makes sense. Because I
Net
see
cost
some
is zero.
weird. Yeah, I'm like, why is it 190? 8 whatever. Okay, I got you.
So I'll entertain a motion if you want to continue it for another
I'll
month.
make that motion to continue it for another month.
I'll second it.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hoppercamp,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, that take care of them issues.
Thank you, council. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Ron.
So the first thing I'd like to mention is our aeration project for Crescent Cove. It's on track. As you saw, this meeting, we're just about done with the contract. That's approved, and now we just have to worry about some logistics and start it. So Ron, if you have the pictures ready, I want to first start by thanking Blue Diamond Paving for the work they did at our animal shelter. It did
Black
beautiful.
Diamond.
Oh, look at the dog looking.
Yeah, he's checking.
He's beautiful.
Yeah. Nice.
That Raider, actually, we're placing him in a special place because we are a no-kill shelter. He's been known to bite people, and I just don't want to kill him because of that. So we found another place that will rescue dogs like this. It cost $4,000, and we've raised more than half of it so far.
Yeah, I think about 35, I think.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
We're not going to kill him. He's a great dog, but if you get in his space, he'll bite you. If he comes to you, you're fine. He's a big mush.
No, about 3.
So Blake Forgy was the owner of Black Diamond Paving and Construction. He donated the front landscaping and the installment of the shelter memorial walkway. He was helped by Christopher Dixon, Patrick Scallon, and Charlie Hetty. They assisted Blake in doing the entire landscaping walkway outside the shelter. He brought in the topsoil, he planted, got flowers, and it's a memorial walkway. He also supplied the mulch and flower beds, and we moved the rocks in. That row of rocks were out front. We actually moved them in so it's easier to park. Did a nice job. And so that was probably over $2,000 worth of work donated by him. And the walkway, you see these memorial pavers, they brought in about $1,600 in monetary donations, and they were being sold at $50 a piece. And so you can still buy them. And what if you look toward the bottom where there are none, we can remove them pavers and add more when we get some more. But that's a beautiful project, and it just adds a lot more class to our shelter. So we still pay attention to that. Back to my notes here. I don't want to miss anything or anybody. The solar project is great. If you look up there, you'll see the whole hill is full of stuff now. And so far, we've had 18 trailer loads of concrete ballast delivered as of June 1st. Actually, we've had more since then. And so there's a total of 407 ballots. I think we're up to about 270 installed. And after all the ballots are in, then we'll start putting on the heads, the actual collectors. But it's going to go pretty fast, and it's long awaited and long overdue. But very good project for us. Actually, if you look at the cost of that, it's probably one of the highest by dollar investment made by a private person in our town that I know of, and at no expense to the borough, by the way. This outdoor dining starts on June 15th, and as you recall, last meeting we approved that for all of our food establishments, provided that they meet the state requirements and whatever they are. And if it gets too crazy, we'll go speak to them. So they're not going to replace their entire parking lot with tables. So that's not going to happen. But we did discuss that at the land use meeting. I think most businesses understand this is a good opportunity for them. If they don't have outside tables, they can put a few up, and it's got to help them. The graduation is a go. That's going to be a drive-in. Nobody can get out of their car. It's pretty virtual. The kids are actually recording their performances as we speak. And if we have our way, we're going to give them their diplomas at the drive-in window at Santander Bank. I spoke to the CEO's office at Santander. They're excited about doing this for our community. I just love it to death because it was a little bit out of the box. And you know, sometimes when you come up with crazy stuff, it actually happens. And so who would have thunk? So we're looking forward to that. And hopefully that's going to be June 19th as far as I know. Speaking about the animal shelter, I got a little bit of information since we haven't had a Board of Health meeting. And Ron, I'll give this to you to post on our website, but slight review, animals surrendered by the donor. And this is annual. Surrendered by the owner were 10 dogs, 33 cats, and 3 others, which included, I think, a snake and a bird and some other animal. The stray and impounded, we had 13 dogs and 139 cats, 2 other. From out of state, we had 3 cats. That was part of a serious problem. I forget the state, but we volunteered to help, so we got 3 cats. 1 cruelty investigation. So total, we did 24 dogs, 175 cats, and 5 other animals. The outflow, that was the intake. The outflow, reclaimed by owner were 10 dogs, 5 cats. Adopted were 8 dogs and 74 cats. I have to tell you, people have big hearts. They fall in love with our cats, as I go up and talk to them all the time. The total transferred to other shelters in pounds were 5 dogs and 46 cats. Within the state, 5 dogs and 46 cats. So that was a total of adopted out with 23 dogs and 172 cats and 5 others. Interesting, when we get others, such as the birds and the snakes and whatever, there's a scramble. They get adopted pretty quickly. It's amazing. So the capacity that we have now are 5 dogs and 30 cats and 2 others. So Jana does a great job for us with that, and our kind-hearted people are in town and out of town also are the ones that make it happen. I know when I'm up there, people come in and take a look at our animals and are always impressed with, number one, the cleanliness of our shelter and the friendliness of our help up there, and also especially the cat area. You know, we let them socialize, and that's so great because when you walk in, they walk up to you and purr at you, and they're not in cages staring at you. I think that's important. It shows the character of our animal shelter, which is a really good one. Ron mentioned River Styx beautification. That's coming along. And also in concert with our other council members, I really want to thank Don Roberts at the community center. And not only do we do the food, we also supply counseling when we need it. And I have to tell you, people locked up at home, the increase in domestic violence and the increase in substance abuse, not the least of which is alcohol and heroin, is increased. So we still pay attention to that. I wish we could have the Center for Prevention come down like we did. And hopefully we can do something soon with that. But we do address it and we do get people help. Alex McLean with his drive-through food, I was up there talking to him. It's pretty neat. He does a good job with that. He really does. And it's another venue for them. And people seem to like it. Kathy Million continues to deliver our meals. And right now we're working with the county about some outdoor activity for the seniors, such as Zumba and some social stuff that will be outside, probably under the gazebo, and give them some relief of this terrible stress they're under by being home alone. We're seeing what we can do with that to help them with that, because our seniors really got whacked with this. I mean, you know, we have families and whatnot. We can cope with it somewhat, but seniors, if they're alone, it's really, really, really hard. Our DPW, you know, did a great job of picking up the brush. I think it helped us today on opening day. People appreciated the fact that they could have their brush picked up, and although we've stopped doing that, now we have the recycling center open, and DPW is up there today in support. So, and you know, as we move through this, all I ask people is to be patient with each other, to support each other, and these are very trying times. And I think that we have to recognize that. And our town just makes me so proud. It really does. I go out and talk to people, and even though we have differences, and they might think that I'm not such a good mayor or the town sucks or anything like that, they have to admit that we do come together. We do take care of our people. We do recognize the fact that some folks haven't got their unemployment yet, or there's some holdup, or there's some other family issue. We certainly address that. We will continue to address that. And I'm just appreciative of all the support that not only this council gives to these issues, but our residents themselves. It makes me very proud to represent Hopatcong. I can't tell you how much that means. So with that being said, unless there's some other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Really?
Yeah.
You're kidding, right? Do you really want me to call the roll?
Well, if
Aye.
everybody's call the roll.
Aye.
Seriously, do you need me to
It's
call
all,
the roll?
That's what we've been doing, so call the roll.
All righty. Mr. Hoppercamp.
Yes.
He's already gone.
I know, Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Miss Robbins.
yes, please.
Mr. Swindler.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Let me think about it. Yes.
And Mr. Young.
I'm not sure. I gotta get back to work now. Yes.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
I gotta go make a phone call. See y'all later.
Have a good day.
All right, thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Later, thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
I gotta
Bye-bye.
call the
Bye, thank you.
governor's office now.
Have a
Be
good
safe,
week.
everyone.
Too.
Everybody take care, please.
Easy, John.